In this lesson, I want to show you how to use the U tool, which is going to be used in one of the future homeworks on master color studies. So we'll talk about that really quick now. Now, really quick before I get into the U tool, I realized, of course, that I forgot another handy thing with brushes. And it's just that if you pressed Shift, it'll make a straight line. So horizontal or vertical, or if you press shift and you press a dot right here and then a dot right here, it's going to connect them in a straight line. So play around with that a little bit. You can do shift. You're just basically dragging your brush, and every time you press shift, it's going to create a straight line. So this can be helpful for, like if you're creating a fence post. Now make sure you let go of shift, because if you don't, it's going to do this connecting line in between. So like if I don't let go, it's going to, let's just see. You see, it's going to create like this. So press shift, let go. Press shift, or hold, and then press shift. Established your place, press shift. Try horizontally. So just a really easy tip. Pressing shift will help you get straight lines. Again, to show how to connect two lines, 2 points to make a straight line, put your brush there, press shift, put it where you want it, and it'll connect it. Put your brush there, let go, put it wherever you want it while holding shift, and it'll connect it. Okay. So you can play around with that a little bit. But what I want to talk about is the U tool, which is this right here. So the U tool, this is in turn the rectangle tool. But if you hold, you can see that there's other tools. I like to use the rectangle and the ellipse tool. Okay. Because it gives you like really fast graphic shapes. And I like to use that as a way to get nice graphic shapes. Now, key things to remember up here, after you have it selected, make sure it's on pixels, not shape. Okay, so if you have it on shape, you're going to get something like this, and all this stuff's going to pop up, and you're not going to like that. So I'm just going to delete that layer, press delete. And then if you change it to pixels, it basically just becomes a normal shape, like what you're like any brush you draw, except it's very perfect rectangle. Okay, so make sure when you press U, that's the shortcut, U tool, make sure it's in pixels. You can adjust the opacity if you like. It's almost like a brush tool, except it's just rectangles. So practice dragging that around. Okay, maybe if you play around the opacity right here, don't worry about these other things. I don't play around with them. You can see that now this is creating more transparent shapes, and I'm almost layering color, and I have it all in one layer. Now here, if you accidentally do this and you give it like rounded corners, you can see, let's make it more obvious. You can see that I'm creating shapes with rounded corners, which is maybe not what you want. So if you're getting rounded corners, make sure that's at 0. So again, you can practice dragging. Now the thing is, you cannot rotate this. This is the annoying thing. It only gives you rectangles that are going up and down. But that limitation can kind of be fun. So that's why if I sometimes, a lot of times I'll block off a painting and I'll use the U tool or the elliptical tool, make sure it's on pixels, and I'll just start dragging these abstract shapes and carving in and start creating a semblance of a composition that way. And the limitation forces me to focus on simple, broad shapes. Right now it looks funny, but you can see I can cut in and I can start finding compositions and shapes like that versus if I was, this looks like two people or something, versus if I was playing with a brush and getting all caught up with little small shapes and things like that. This is how this tool is what you're going to use to do some of the studies. So you can stick with the rectangle or the ellipse. There's also the line tool. Okay, the line tool I find kind of annoying. The cool thing about this is you can rotate it and you can create lines at any angle. And if you want to make it thicker, you adjust the weight. I find this kind of annoying to adjust because you have to really increase it to make it thicker. So the higher the number, the thicker it's going to be. And you just kind of keep adjusting the thickness like this. And you can also, this is also a great way to block in color. Mike Hernandez uses this tool sometimes for his digital paintings, and that's how you can sort of play around with blocking in graphic shapes right before you get into the details. So maybe this is like a tree right here, and then maybe I'll make it smaller and I'll cut into that shape. I look at everything as cutting in and out of shapes. I don't know what that is, but you can see I've created kind of interesting silhouettes, right, in 2 seconds without having to worry and get caught up in the details. So again, that's the U tool. Okay, play around with the rectangle tool, play around with the ellipse tool. Again, you can make different thinness of ellipse. So let me just go a little slower. If you drag it out big, you can make it fatter. If you drag it out thin, you can make it thinner, and you can make all different sizes. So just play around with dragging and getting comfortable, honestly. Just play around with that, right? It's the same for the rectangle tool. Okay, for the rectangle tool, you can drag it out fat, horizontal thin, vertical thin, tall, tall, skinny, thick, So just play around with dragging it out like that. And that's it. Just wanted to show you the U tool.